Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, today we have a third on the show. We have a special guest, Marco Scola. Is that how you say your name?
You got it. You nailed it, Dave. Good job.
All righty. Marco Scola is joining us today. Ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. So now that we have all the formalities out of the way, we're going to talk to Marco tonight. I saw that he was doing some YouTube streaming, and I've seen him come in the chat room from time to time when myself or Ron are on, or both of us are on. And so I was watching one of his videos, and it struck a chord with me, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about games that got you through tough times. And I know Marco's got a terrific story to tell us, and I imagine that Ron and myself probably have a game that got us through tough times as well, and it could be anything. Mm-hmm. And in the chat room, if you're in the chat room there, we want to know what games got you through tough times as well. But Marco, before we get going, we do have one question that we like to ask all the guests that come on the show. And I can only imagine what it's going to be, but we're going to ask you anyway. If you could go back in time and attend any sporting event, what would that be?
Back into probably, what would it be? January 24th, I think is the day, 1986.
Oh,
the day the Bears. The day the Bears won the Super Bowl, because I wasn't alive. I didn't get to see it. I had no idea what it was like.
Okay.
Yeah, now, to be fair, for those of you who are listening to this, Marco's in a room full of Chicago Cubs stuff.
Yes.
Everything in that, it's Cubby blue. Everything is there, and so when Dave asked that, I thought he was going to go with Game 7.
You know what I thought he was going to say, Ron? I thought he was going to say he was going to go to the Bartman game and sit next to him, and when that ball came, he was going to nudge him out of the way.
So, funny story about that game in particular. So my family just moved to Florida like weeks before that series took place, and I was always a Cubs fan. And so I'm amongst a bunch of Florida Marlins fans who probably became Marlins fans 15 minutes before.
Right.
And they're all going nuts and we went to Game 5. My dad, my great uncle who has since passed on, and my grandfather. And my grandfather was giddy like a school child. And, of course, they lost that game. And I think that was the Josh Beckett one-hit game, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, that's all right. We're going back to Wrigley. They'll win. And, of course, they didn't. So, the reason why I didn't pick the Cubs is I was around in 2016, and I remember every second of it. So, I've seen the Hawks win. I've seen the Bulls win. I've seen the Cubs win. The Bears are my golden goose, the last one I need. So 26, there it is, January 26th. Yep. That was close.
Yep. So we have some people coming in here in the chat room, and Harold Demi says, Marco does a nice job with the videos and History Maker Golf.
Thank you.
Yes, he does. All right, so let's get right into this, Marco. So I saw your channel. You're playing some games. You're streaming some games. We have some streaming questions for you, too, before we sign off tonight. What was it that got you into this kind of gaming here? What were some of the first games you played?
So it started with Strat Baseball, actually. So I was kind of going back to like when I was a kid. Like I was much more of a video game player, and there's a story behind that which we'll get to later. But as I got a little bit older, I wanted more. I got bored with video games and wanted more like. I always liked creating my own worlds, if you will. Like my earliest memory of literally sitting like in a hospital is I created like a fake baseball league. It was real team names, but it was fake. And I literally would grab a quarter and flip coins, and heads the home team won and tails the away team won. And I would play 100-game seasons, and the Cincinnati Reds won like 4 World Series in a row, which always pissed me off. Yeah. Sorry. But so it started there, and then it was actually a cocktail of perfect timing. Right around the pandemic, I found Strat Baseball, and I was hooked. I'm like, I've been looking for this game. I don't know what drew me to it. Probably the stats, probably the ability. The first thing I did was create a league. and drafted players and put my favorite players on Chicago, of course. And it started there, and then it just sort of grew and grew and grew. And now I mean, if you see behind me, I've got probably 25, 30 games, which isn't a lot compared to some of the people out there, but to me, it's a lot.
Okay, so you're a younger guy. Okay, so you're on the younger side of things. I'm not even going to guess your age unless you want to tell us, but I mean, you're on the younger.
I'm 32. Yeah, I'll tell you.
I thought you were in your 30s. So you're about half my age, almost. So I'm an older guy, and once I stepped out of the target demographic for video games, that's when I started to play here. Had I had known how fun this stuff was, I'd like to say I'd be playing this a lot earlier, but I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed video games, getting on the couch and playing, and Call of Duty or NHL, whatever. I enjoyed that for years and years and years. And it was only when I couldn't get through the Madden tutorial that I put the video games down and then play the tabletop. And I saw Ron playing Action PC. And it's like, boy, this looks like a lot of fun. And I just haven't turned back since, So that's interesting. So it was only a handful of years ago that you started playing the games, right?
And I'll tell you, it actually just triggered a memory for me. So there's actually two key events that led me to it now that I think about it. You mentioned Madden, and Madden, I played that game religiously growing up. And then as the years went on, the franchise mode got worse and worse and worse. And that was my thing. I always wanted to take a team, build it, and then try and win with it. And it just got worse. And today it's almost unplayable. So now that's what drew me to tabletop games, which is point number 2, how I got there. And Ron was talking about this, I want to say 2 or 3 episodes ago, was Out of the Park Baseball. And I wanted a full GM experience. I found Out of the Park Baseball. And then I got sick of carrying my laptop everywhere. So I'm like, there's got to be another way. And that's how I found Strat. So it was you could draw a perfect line from Madden, OOTP to Strat to everything else now.
Nice.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I kind of took a similar route. I started watching Ron play the Action PC, and I had dabbled in the sports mogul games, the football mogul and the baseball mogul, and I found it fascinating that I could play the 1976 Patriots and Raiders, which you couldn't do with video games, And so for me, it was the nostalgia point, going back to when I was a kid and playing these games. And then Ron's like, why don't you try the cards and dice? You might like it. So I got the Strat Hockey, and I just couldn't believe that when you rolled dice that you could feel like you were at a game, and I still can't to this day. Now you're getting into this right around the same time as me. Maybe I was a couple years before you there, but Ron's been doing it a long time. A lot of people in the chat here, by the way. We got a lot of people in the chat, so hello. And your channel is it Marco Scola?
That's it, just my name, Marco Scola.
Okay, just like it's spelled here on the screen, MarcoScola. Marco Scola is his channel, and go check him out and subscribe to his channel and see some of the great videos that he's been doing. So what I'm getting at is that, a lot of guys here in the chat have been here a long time. Ron's been doing a long time. I'm fairly new.
1984.
Yeah. Wow. Ron's been a long time. So you must kind of feel like myself right now that you just opened the door to this store that you've never been into, and it's wall-to-wall tabletop sports games. And I'm just like, okay, so I played a little bit of the Strat, and then I got the Strat Baseball, and then Tebow sent me APA, and APA Chatter sent me some APA games, and then I started downloading the PDF. And next thing you know, it's just like, there's so many games. This is awesome because I hadn't played these. I just started playing Status Pro Baseball. Now, that's a long time. Getting this around for a long time. I just started playing it. It's awesome. So you and me are kind of in the same boat where we're fairly new at this, and we're like, ooh, I need to try this. Ooh, there's so many games to play I've never played,
100%. No, and I'm surprised my wife hasn't left me yet, because every week a new game's showing up, it feels like. It's like someone opened the floodgates, and there's almost nothing. And I really don't even touch the video games anymore, honest to God. And what has happened is, oh my God, every time I get that box in the mail, doesn't matter what game it is, There is nothing that replaces that feeling of opening it up, trying to learn the new game, and it's how I found you. It's how I found Ron. It's how I found Ron Emsch and hundreds of other channels out there or whatever. And it's oh my God, there's people like me that do this too, and that are as obsessed, and it really becomes an addiction. Like I in a good addiction. Let me be clear, a good addiction.
It's a healthy addiction. It is,
Exactly, and it's great. I mean, I look forward to my weekends because I could roll and roll and roll.
There you go.
What do I feel like this weekend? Oh, maybe it's wrestling. Maybe it's NASCAR.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hockey. I don't know. Whatever we feel like.
I played some racing games, and I'm not a big racing guy. In the summer, I admit my little dirty little secret is in the summertime. I love watching the night racing down in Florida. You know, like on a Saturday night, and it's nighttime, and they got the NASCAR going around. I could just chill out with that. You get the windows open in the house. It's a nice night up here. And it's just something soothing about that. You know, during the day when it's hot and 90 degrees, I don't want to watch it. But at night, something about night racing that I do like that. But I'm the same way. I played racing games. I'm not a racing guy. And I love playing all the different games. And it's fun watching you play the different games and the whole bit. And Ron jokes with me that I'm the Golden Corral guy because I play all these different games, and I can't focus on a game for very long because, I haven't tried this one yet. I haven't tried that one yet. So it is kind of fun. So you started with the Strat baseball, and then it exploded from there.
It exploded. I think Appa Golf, I believe. Well, no, Strat football was the next one, and to this day, I just never. I don't know what it is. I never really connected with it.
PC.
Go to the PC version of it.
PC? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
Because you can look at the cards. I think you can even roll into your own dice run, right?
Yes, you can.
In the football game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And it does all the heavy lifting for you. And you can even, if you want to watch the play, you can, or you can turn that off and just play cards and dice. But I bought the football game, too, on the tabletop, and I was like, oh, man, there's so many cards to lay out, and I'm playing by myself. But you can play the computer on the PC version, like Ron said, and you can roll your own dice.
All the weaknesses in doing solitaire for Strat football are taken care of on the PC. Yeah. Although Steeler fan, who was in the chat, is a huge player of Strat football on the table. It can be done, but the PC version just that's really, really
it's
good.
not often that we'll recommend PC over cards and dice, but that is one incident.
That's awesome. Okay.
Speaking of recommending that, I picked up 4 seasons of basketball for Strat today, too.
I know.
That was another one I tried. I actually really like the Strat basketball.
It is. I think it's their best game.
Yes. I honestly love the flow of it. Yeah.
I honestly think it's their best game. And so I just picked up, I did the 365 sale. So I bought 2 football teams, and my football team will be crushed tomorrow night at between midnight and 1 a.m. Because I screwed up with that. So there was a coupon. So if you bought any of the 365 credits, they would send you a code for any Windows product. It's at 20% off.
Yeah, that was a good deal. Yeah.
So I actually picked up the core of, speaking of Chicago, Mr. Jordan. And
never heard of him.
Never heard of him. I guess he went to North Carolina.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Aren't they the Tar Heels? Right.
The Tar Heels.
23, air something.
So, Scottie Pippen was my favorite player growing up. No, not really. And so I grabbed 89 through 93. So the last of the Bad Boys teams and the first 3 So I spent some money, and it was $22 off the 4 seasons. So it was a pretty decent sale. It was almost buy 4 for the price of 3. Almost.
He'll always be a wizard to me.
Wow.
Yes, he is. Yes, he will be. And just like Bobby Orr and the Blackhawks. Yeah.
All right, so Marco, you know, pretty much everybody knows.
He is on the Bobby Orr is on the highlight video when the Hawks start up their pregame intros. I always get a laugh out of that.
Really? That week he was there, huh?
Yeah, so if you go to a Blackhawks game, and anyone in the chat that's been to a Hawks game in the last 5-10 years will verify this, that they do like a greats of the Hawks, like a pregame thing, and he is on there as God is my witness, and I laugh every time.
It's like putting Jose Canseco in a Red Sox highlight video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was crazy. All right, so Marco, so you kind of know what what we play here. If you listen to the show, what are some of the games you enjoy playing?
Cop-out answer, all of them.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I rotate a lot. So I'm a very like mood-based or season-based guy. So like when football's in season, I did get second season finally, but haven't really dug into it yet because I want to wait for football season. But like I play a lot of basketball when basketball season's in, play a lot of APA hockey when hockey season's in. And then I rotate a lot of the play games. Like we talked about the NASCAR game, red, white, and blue racing. I've done a couple videos on that. The History Maker Golf is, I love that game. So I rotate probably 6 or 7 games, and really depending on how I'm feeling, I'm pick which one I want to play tonight, and then maybe tomorrow it's something different. So I played. I was on Face to the Mat, didn't leave my table for like 3 weeks, and that's another game that I played all the wrestling video games growing up. I was a big wrestling fan growing up as well, but I kind of got out of it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, and I was wrong.
I find if you give any game a chance, a fair chance,
Yes.
there's fun to be had in every game, and there's games that I don't play much at all. But I still say there's fun to be had in that game. Let me ask you something. Do you ever play any quick play games or like final score games? Have you get into that yet?
No, not really. I do not necessarily. I would say the closest one is probably Fast Drive Football, but even that, like, there's quick play options, but I still like playing the full game unless I'm trying to do, like, I'm trying to redo the 2006 Bears season. I'm trying to get them that Super Bowl, but I don't know if that's going to happen. They're off to the replay. They're off to like a 4-4 start. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
they were 8-0 at one point.
Yeah, when you get into the final score game, it's just kind of like you get a rating for each team, you roll the dice, and you get a score, and that's the end of it. They're fun in their own way because you can do some longer projects faster with them. They just don't have
check some of those out.
They just don't have the. That's a quick meal. You know what I mean? If you want something that to really sit down and enjoy, then what you're playing is fantastic. Let me see. Another question I got for you here. So what got you into streaming the games? How did you decide that you want to get on YouTube and show off some of these games?
So, couple of things actually. So I have more of a broadcasting background, although I don't do it too much anymore. And I'm always looking for ways to kind of show off those skills, if you will. And a funny thing started happening. I started playing these games, again, much to the annoyance of my wife. I would start playing these games and start calling the games. And I've seen you do that before, Dave, too. And you start getting into it, and you start, you catch yourself like, and there's a shot to left, and then we got to go right, and so-and-so has the puck, and he passes here, and you start getting in the rhythm. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wait a second. I have a camera, I have microphones, I have availability, I have a YouTube channel I've never used. I opened that account 10 years ago, never did anything with it. It just seemed like a perfect match. It was literally just me laying in bed one night, staring at the ceiling going, yeah, maybe I should share this with people. And maybe if by me sharing it, I get some more people my age into these games, then that for me is a huge win, because I know nobody my age around me that does this stuff. And it's funny because I've been introducing it to like my younger cousins or friends of mine, and I haven't gotten many people to buy them yet, but whenever they come over, I've had a few friends say like, what you have that APA? What is it? A Papa game? What is it called? Like APA hockey? Yes, I'm right here. Let's play it. So,
but now maybe with some of the players of your youth now starting to retire, some of the Blackhawks runs, maybe that will get them interested because they'll be able to replay them. I mean, it's difficult when they're still on TV every night. Well, what do you mean I want to play the Hawks? That core is still there. Well, not anymore. It's not.
Yes.
And so you can continue to go through there, or the season that maybe in a sport that you should have won. You mentioned the 06 Bears. I lost $75 on Bad Rex in a Super Bowl squares that night. I had to score after 3 quarters, and he threw the interception, and the Colts scored, and it cost me $75. I'm not bitter or anything about that.
Are you bitter? You sound bitter.
I am bitter about that. was $75.
Rex Grossman was the MVP of that Super Bowl for the Colts, so
imagine Rex Grossman played in a Super Bowl, and all the other great quarterbacks that did
and
not.
And Dan Fouts didn't.
Yeah.
So,
and you got guys that always not to get on a whole tangent, but there's guys like Rex Grossman or Trent Dilfer who won a Super Bowl, and you just wonder how that happened when guys like Marino never. Yeah. He got there a couple of times and never cashed in.
Yeah, we still think that Dilfer was the worst quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl. But
pretty darn close.
But to go back to it, especially now, it's been 7 years since the Cubs World Series and that. So, hopefully now you can get some people into that because
I think so. I think that, so to provide a little more like history, I guess, when I bought Strat, I bought it with the 16 Cubs because, I mean, they're the most important team of my life, like, period. I mean,
sure.
There's no more sports team that I worshiped more than that team. It is what it is. And yeah, you're right. And then when I bought Appa Hockey, guess what set I bought? It was the 15 Blackhawk season.
Yeah.
And, it's just, and then now when I look for, now what's interesting though is I feel like Strat baseball taught me a lot about old baseball. So I also bought the Hall of Fame game. The Hall of Fame version, and it came with the Negro Leagues. And I played probably 20 games with just Negro League players, and then I caught myself, going to bed at night or sitting on the toilet or something, Googling like, oh my God, Cool Papa Bell and Oil Can Boyd and all these guys. It was like,
it is a rabbit hole. It is absolutely a rabbit hole that you can go down. I forgot where I was going to go with it.
It's to your point. It just opens up so many possibilities.
Look at PJ. PJ just posed. Here am I thinking, why would I be interested in the 1916 Cubs? Yeah, I'm a casual baseball guy, and I played I don't know how many games of 1899 baseball on my channel. And now I got 1908 on deck, and I bought a baseball book on 1908. This stuff just sucks you in.
Yeah.
It just
Dave, you've done more to promote the Cleveland Spiders as probably anyone outside of Thomas Hetrick, who wrote the book on it.
It just happened. It was a fun ride, it just caught fire. It was just a fun story. But in that last game that they won, I streamed the game. They clobbered the Cincinnati Reds in the final game of the season to get victory. Was it 21 or 22 or something like that?
Or 20,
and 23. Everyone in the chat was rooting for the Spiders that night. It was just
awesome. That scrub that couldn't make his team in Wilmington, North Carolina. That was number 23. Marco, I know exactly how you feel about that 1916 Cub team because when the Red Sox won in 2004, it was the first one in my lifetime, and my mom's that, and years later, I ended up having the chance to interview Gabe Kaplan, who I know is
very cool.
Oh, very, very smart guy, too. Probably not well regarded in San Francisco and Philadelphia, but who cares? And so it was the first person that I'd ever spoken to from that team. And so, you just do what you can with that and trying to be professional. But at the end of that, I thanked him. Said, I got to stop you right here. And said, thank you so much for what happened. It meant the world. So, yes, I understand how that meant to you.
So I guess we got more chats coming in, and it is a nice compliment by Doug. Hello, Dave, Ron, and Marco. Been watching a lot of your videos recently. You're doing good. So, yep, great. So let's talk a little bit more about the streaming. What have you discovered about streaming? What are some of the ups and some of the downs about streaming?
It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot harder than I thought. Harder meaning, I put a lot of time into making the videos. And I think a lot of that has to do maybe with, I'm not equipped for streaming, for example. So I'm old school. I started with shooting on my iPhone basically, and then I've got my overhead cam is an old DSLR camera that I've got. So now I'm kind of starting to get into if I want to buy more live stream equipment or do I want to go that route, or do I want to stick with the production that I've been doing? again, going back to that broadcast background, I mean, I've got these tools and I've had them forever and I know how to use them, so use them. But at the same time, you know, doing one of these videos, I mean, the best and the most fun part is sitting there and playing the games. And in my head, I always feel like I'm in the room with 25, 30 people, and maybe that says more about me, but it's like I'm having conversations with people, and then to see the reactions in the comments and people reaching out has been awesome. I mean, and you did again, Dave, I'll shout you out. You did a really cool video about community a couple weeks ago. And that has been the biggest thing about this community as a whole that has been so cool, and I did not expect it at all, is, you know, I watch how many of these YouTube videos, and I'm thinking, man, you know, I'll be happy to get 100 views. I'll be happy to get, you know, 150 people watching. No one's going to sit and watch these. Only weirdos like me and David Ron watch this stuff, you know? But hundreds of people out there that are just like us, thousands even, and the community has been awesome. I remember when I got the Appa game and I cold emailed Dave, and I'm like, man, I really like that score sheet, or ID Jester is another one. I really like this. I really like that. And it appears in your mailbox. And it's crazy. And it's a really, really cool and unique thing. And again, another thing to differentiate from video games is, yeah, you can get on and talk crap with your friends, but it's not the same. It's not. There's something about this community that's just so unique.
Well, I'll tell you something here. You know, there's a lot of people, and myself included, we spend a lot of time on YouTube. Like, I'm on YouTube more than I am watching regular TV, okay? And sometime at night, I go to bed at night, and let's just say, you know, I like to listen to hockey at night, sometimes baseball. Like, I'll put on XM radio on my phone or whatever. But sometimes I'll go and see who's streaming live on YouTube. And I'll put that on, and I'll just listen, like I'm listening to the radio. And every now and then I might pop into the chat or something. But I just go to bed with that on. And a lot of people said the same thing. At night, they just put something on in the background to listen to, whether it's just a chat that we do or whether you're playing an actual game. And a lot of times if there's nobody on, I'll go search around for a game, like, you know, your channel or Ron's channel or something, and I'll put on a game that you did and just kind of have that on as something to listen to at night. And a lot of people do that. They really do. And some of the stuff is like 2 or 3 years old, and I'll go back and I'll just listen to a game. It's like, oh, I don't know if I heard that one there, but this would be a fun game to listen to. And sometimes when I'm learning a game, I like to put it on, too, just to kind of hear how someone's playing the game so I can try to learn a little bit about that as well, you know. And
no, I think that's big. I'll add one point too. Like, for me, it started as I wanted to learn the games, and then now it's like, oh wow, I actually am watching this game like it's happening for real, and I get into it, and it's fun, you know. And I really want Dave's Buccaneers to win, you know. And you get into it, and then you have to stop yourself for a second. Wait, this is cards and dice on some guy's table in Boston. What are you doing? But it's still awesome. It's fun. You really get into it.
It is, because it's games that you play, you know. So it's like, well, I play that game too, and I want to see this guy play it and see how he does it. And, you know, and I learn a lot. I mean, you know, even with the app of hockey, I'll see someone play it and they'll do something. It's like, wow, I like that. I like how they either set this up, or maybe they did this and maybe they did that. And so I'm always tweaking my games to make it play a little bit better, you know. The only downfall about the playing the games is it's amazing how many mistakes you make, and you don't even realize it. You get done the video, and you're like, oh, that's a 5, not a 6, or this is a 13, and I read 14, and you're just like, oh, my gosh. It's so easy to make mistakes. It just is. I don't know what, because, you know, especially with the tabletop stuff, because you're trying to remember how to play the game with all the rules and talk to people and keep it entertaining so you're not focused and you make a ton of mistakes. And that's what kind of stinks, you know what I mean? But you take the good with the bad, you know? Sure. So, except for Ron. Ron never makes a mistake.
The Rockies and the Diamondbacks would like me to review how I manage bullpens for the last couple of days, but no, I never make a mistake.
And Fairness says, I'm just happy Dave answers my questions. He takes time, so the listeners always excellent. Yes, we try to do what we can. I do keep in mind that we're not experts. You know, we play the games, and I'll help whenever I can. But you know, I didn't design the games, and I so I just play them, and I try to help the best I can. But like I say, I'm not a I don't have any ins with any companies that can say, hey, Dave, this is, talk to people about my game, because I just play them. But I do what I can, and then Ron does too, and Marco will as well, And D. Scott Howard says, no one who plays these games worries about a few mistakes. Yeah, some people do, but for the most part, the feedback is usually really, really good. All righty, so we want to get into the main topic here, and folks, this is where you can chime in the chat as well. And the topic of this is games that got you through tough times. And Ron, I'm surprised that we haven't done this topic yet. We've covered a lot of things, and even covered a lot of things.
We certainly have.
And Marco did a video. It was actually a health update video. And again, you say as much or as little as you want. Okay, but we're going to give you the floor. Your story was very inspiring when I watched that video. And if anybody wants to get the chance, head over to Marco's channel and check out his health update video. It was such an inspiring video. And so talk about that for a second. But what got us onto this topic is that you were going through a tough time, and you said you had this one game on your table, and that got you through a really difficult time. And I've had those too. I've had some tough times in my life, and I've played these. I don't know if it's a video game, a table, whatever it is. Something just that was your life raft at that time in your life, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, anybody in the chat, do you have a game that got you through a tough time? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about here in this segment. So, Marco, why don't you tell us your story, and then tell us about this game that got you through tough times?
So I guess I'm very open about my medical issues, and I always have been. So it's don't feel I'm not looking for sympathy at all or anything like that. So I'm happy to tell my story. But to make it's going to sound dramatic, but I promise you all of it is 100% true. So when I was born, quite frankly, the first words out of the doctor's mouth to my parents is, "You better say goodbye." So I had what's called prune belly syndrome. Basically, the best way it's ever been explained to me is imagine trying to grow an oak tree in a flower pot. It's where the mother's womb doesn't get enough fluids, nutrients, whatever, to allow the baby to grow. It's probably in 1 in every 2 million pregnancies, how rare it is. So as a result of that, I had heart issues, kidney issues, and I don't have a right leg, which I've made jokes about it my whole life. I take it in jest. So I had a kidney transplant when I was 5. The kidney was donated by my dad. And life besides that has been fairly smooth sailing for the most part. I mean, ups and downs here and there. And, I mentioned earlier doing those little coin flip games. That was in the hospital. I was doing that. And same thing with video games. They were always there. I was always a big video gamer. And then in recent years, I've had some struggles with my prosthetics where I get a lot of breakdown. Luckily, I don't feel anything down there, thank God, because I probably would have blown my head off just with the amount of sores and stuff that I get down there. So last summer, it was sort of a concoction of things that started happening. One of which I found out fairly recently. Well, I'm kind of skipping ahead in the story a little bit, but I found out fairly recently that the kidney transplant, the kidney's failing, which I always expected that to happen. It was always coming. I was told that ever since I got the organ. So we're going through that process, my wife and I and our family. We're going through that, trying to, find a donor and all that stuff. But on top of all that, I get these sores on my prosthetic. And last summer, I was playing a lot of golf, real golf, and I got to a point where the sore got infected. I had to be hospitalized, and then they basically said that, and which has happened before. It's not. I'm sorry to say, it's fairly frequent, and the people that make these things are incredible, but I don't know what they got to do to fix it, but it's recurring constantly. Anyway, so I couldn't wear the prosthetic they told me it was going to be about 8 weeks. It turned out being like 4 months, 5 months. So I'm sitting there and can't play golf. I can't even put the leg on. I can only get around with a scooter. And then I find out about the whole kidney thing. I'm like, what the heck? What is going on? So I had my strat game, and strat got me through the pandemic because I actually found strat in around November of 2019, just serendipitous timing.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Yes. So what do you think I did for the pandemic and the lockdowns and everything? I played strat all the time. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, well, I can't walk around, can't do anything. I need a new game. I need a new hobby. I need something new. And I found Appa Golf. Again, probably just poking around on YouTube. I don't remember how I found it. And I played Appa Golf every freaking day. I would literally wake up. I'd go to work. Luckily, we'd work from home. Wake up, go to work. I'd close my computer for the workday and just right here, get out Appa Golf and just go. And it was really, it was a life changer in a lot of ways because psychologically, last summer I played 120 rounds of golf, right? Because to me, every time I played a round on the table, in my head, I'm out there playing.
You're fully thinking it all the way through, and so you're using your head and not thinking about whatever the calamity is at that moment.
Exactly. And I've always viewed golf and games and etc. as my way of escapism. All right, cool. I got all this stuff going on in my life, but you know what? For those 3 hours or 4 hours or 1 hour or whatever amount of time I get, I can sit there and I can just go into this world of the Cubs are 2 games out of first place and it's a big game tonight. We need this win against Pittsburgh and let's roll the dice. Or we're playing face to the mat and it's almost WrestleMania and let's see if this wrestler is going to make the push to the final. Or we're on the 17th green at Augusta National and it's John Rahm at the tee and we need to put this thing dead center or he's going to lose the tournament. And in those moments, and you guys all know what I'm talking about, and everyone in the chat who plays knows what I'm talking. You're there.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Especially with the golf game.
Yeah.
The golf game I found, I decided playing Apple Golf, is one of probably the most unique game that I have of all the games that I have, because it's just you. You're controlling that one golfer, and you're trying to, where do I aim? What club do I use? Do I work the ball? How many optional rules do I want to use in this game? But it's you against the course. It's not sitting back and rolling the dice and seeing if the guy gets a hit. It's you need to make decisions on every single shot. And I don't think I have a game right now that I have to say I have to make this many decisions with during the course of a game.
Oh, absolutely.
It's important. It's absolutely important to be able to just to get your mind off of everything. We did the chats every night, during the heat of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to be able to say for that, as Marco says, that 45 minutes, that hour, that 2 hours, that you are, I've described it. It's like writing a book. You are writing your own story, and if that gets your mind off of the fight you have with a spouse or the vet bill that you might get or whatever,
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, I had the what was it? The Chicago Hawks, I named them. They are my strat baseball team, and the first 3 seasons I did, they didn't even make the playoffs. And then they got to the World Series, and it got to a Game 7, and they were down by, I swear to God, they were down by a run in the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th inning. And when I rolled a home run, a walk-off home run, I jumped up and celebrated probably the same way that I did when the real Cubs beat the Indians in 2016. I mean, the emotion was the same. It was the same.
It is. I've done that before. I played some games, and I think the Bruins won the Cup for me one time in a replay that I did. And I was like, Bruins win the Cup. It's something that didn't happen when I was a kid, and now I can enjoy this and celebrate. But, yeah, I'm the same way. And even when the Spiders won that last game, it was like, come on, can I get them this win in the last game of the season? And it just was crazy and fun. And it is these games, the immersion of these games, especially when you're going through tough times, and this is your escape. Okay, this is your escape, and when something really good happens here, it's just everything else just goes away for a little while, It really is.
Absolutely.
Houses. More kids should play these games instead of the troublesome smartphone. Yeah, exactly. I had one game that got me through a tough time, probably about 14 years ago, and it was a little handheld Tetris game. It was actually a keychain, okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that era.
And it's just, it was a bathroom game. We played it in the bathroom, whatever, but it was a Tetris thing at the time. Again, it's a long time ago, so I don't think any of the switches or anything else were out. So it was just a little handheld Tetris game. And I would play that all night till the wee hours of the morning just to keep my mind from thinking about what was going on. And it did. It got me through bad times. And I don't know how many games I played. I don't know how many games I won, how many games I lost. I just kept playing this little game, and it got me through. And it really did. And so, I hear you on that. It's just something to take your mind off it, something to keep you happy, I guess, because I wasn't playing these games at the time here. And I didn't want to go play a video game at the time. I just wanted something, that I'm familiar with and playing,
Winter times are tough because there's a long stretch of time in the Northeast where you just can't get out in a chair. And so one winter I taught myself how to play poker. And I put $50 into a PokerStars account, and I broke even. Taught myself how to do it. Now it's been years. I pay real money now to play poker, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. And I believe ASG Golf came out for Christmas one year, and so I got permission to spend the $198 on the everything thing that you could still get there. And yeah, played golf all winter, just because, just like as you described, you're thinking about what's my next shot? How do I do this? I need to make, I'm 3 shots now with 8 holes to go. Can I do it? And I believe the first, because you can create your own golfer in that too. And I think the first time that I won something, I got pretty pumped about that.
Yeah. Now, Mark, have you played the ASG Golf yet?
I haven't, and you're like the third or fourth. Both of you guys are like the third or fourth people to say I should try it. So,
very similar to APA. In fact, I think the courses are somewhat interchangeable to a point.
Yeah, the courses I think are all you could play. The cards may not.
Interesting.
No, the cards a little bit different. But yeah, I think the next sale I'm going to pick it up on the table. I have it on the PC and it's fun, but but the PC, it allows you to roll the red and the white die, but it doesn't allow you to roll the other 2 die, which controls direction. And to me, that was kind of it's still fun, but I'm not getting the full cards and dice experience. So I want to know exactly what goes on when I roll, and even when I play some PC games that you can roll your own dice, I still follow along to make sure that I know what's going on. I just like to do that myself. So, but I'm going to get that on the tabletop at some point, and then I can compare APA and ASG and see how it goes. Let me see. Jim had a question for you. How long did it take you to start playing the advanced APA golf game since you started from scratch?
Pretty quickly. I mean, I felt like the game was, well, okay. Let me say this. If you go by what the direction's saying, this is not a shot whatsoever at Apple, and I think Dave has talked about this as well. If you just open the book and you're not on YouTube and watching other people play it, it is next to impossible to figure out.
Yep.
But if you take the time and look on, follow Dave, follow Ron Emps. That's who I followed. Well, I followed Ron. Dave, you just got the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I've picked it up pretty quickly, and I was playing advanced probably within the first week. I mean, really, the advance is just the only real difference is the wind, whether or not the ball is going to roll on the fairway, and your lives. I mean, that's really the only additions. Otherwise, the game's the exact same.
I found what I'm going to do with that game is I'm going to pick and choose the advanced rules. And I think you can, as long as you're consistent with everybody. And, again, you're playing yourself, so it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah. But I just found with that game that once I watched the videos, the rule book made sense. And like you said, if you read the rule book first, I didn't get any what the rule book said. But once you see it played, then it makes sense. So, so watch some people play it first, and you'll get an idea about bringing it back to the center line and, how to line up the next shot and, Was it Tom Klein does some great videos too about how to work around trees. Emschke did some great stuff. ID's played a little bit. There's been not a lot of people on there, but a handful have played the app of golf. And if you follow them along, you get an idea what's going on. Now, I have noticed, especially on the Delphi forum, that no one can really agree on certain things. And there's a couple of situations that come up, and it's like, I see both sides. I could see how this guy would say this, and I see how this guy would say that. And someone mentioned to me that they think the rules were kind of purposely vague so you could kind of just play it your own way. And if you really try, and one other guy said a good thing too, because I went a deep dive on Delphi on the golf Alpa Golf folder, and someone else said, if I got to sit there with every shot and take a piece of string and measure in a knife and a protractor and write things down and calculate I ain't gonna play this game. I need the game to flow. I need it to be fun. To me, then the guy's using his because to me that is just not fun for me. I'm not going to go to that length. Yeah. And I kind of agree with that guy there. I'm willing to go a little bit. Okay, I don't want to be in the trees and just hit it like I'm in the fairway, because then why bother? You're not playing real golf at that point, But I think that goes for all the games we play. And I think Ron will agree on this. That if you, it's a game. It's either a board game or a PC game. You're not out there in real life playing this game. Well, so at some point, you have to default to the fact that it's a board game or a PC game, and it can only do so much, and just work within that and have fun.
We are playing the 2D version of a 3D game, regardless of the sport. We have to be. We're taking something that is a full sight sound, trees in the case of golf, and we're playing on graph paper. And how do you do that? And how do you do it to have the most fun? And David and I've talked about this before. I was in college, so right around the time you were born, Marco, before I realized that you didn't get money in Monopoly for landing on free parking. I did not know until I was 18, 19 years old that was the official rule. And so, between everybody playing the way that they feel most comfortable with. Now, the computer hybrids, ASG, the Strat PC games, kind of force you into playing the correct way, so you learn it the right way. But again, you play it on the tabletop, or you play it the way that makes the most sense to you.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong.
100%.
Yeah.
What
100%.
What might make sense to me isn't going to make sense to Dave, and vice versa. But Dave's not wrong, and I'm not wrong.
Yeah. They had a great example there. Like I said, what makes sense is somebody hit the ball on the other side of the trees in the rough, but they had a straight shot at the green. Now, the rules tell you need to go back to the center line. Mm-hmm. Common sense says, I'm at the edge of the trees. There's nothing in my way. I'm in just regular rough, and I'm not in anything crazy.
I'm going for it.
I'm going to hit it at the green.
Yep.
I'm not playing through the trees, even though that's what the rules said. So I think sometimes, that's one of the great things I think about playing on the tabletop is that you have full control about what goes on. And if this makes sense, then go with that. Now, there are some people that go, no, by the rules and if that's your fun, then go ahead. But I'm going to play this as I think. Yeah. And there was a game, I remember, I don't know if ID Jess is still watching or not, but ID was playing a football game, and I forget which one it was. And it was at the end of the game, and he had like all this crazy stuff happening with like replays and flags. It kind of wrecked the end of his game. And he's just like, man, common sense says this would not happen the way it did.
We're not talking about that Bengal Ram Super Bowl, are we? Because that's what happened in that one in real life.
Yeah, no, he was playing a game, and it's like all this weird stuff, and it just kept, like, every time he rolled the dice, it was something really, it wasn't just a straight set play.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was replays that come through, or if it was a pass interference that got reversed, or and he's just like, man, one after another, it kind of, and I was watching him play, and it's like, and we did a whole show because of that. It's like, when it doesn't make sense. We did a whole show called When It Doesn't Make Sense. And what do you do if you're playing a game and you're like, I know anything can happen, but the chances of this happening like this, after this, and then after this, are like 3 or 4 penalties in a row in hockey. probably not going to. If you're playing in a Stanley Cup playoff game, the ref's not going to call 4 penalties in a row on one team. In a matter of minutes.
Not live.
Yeah. No, and like Ron says, the dice don't know it's the playoffs. So they're just rolling. But common sense would say, holy cow, they're down by 2 men. You're going to give them another penalty, give them another 2-man advantage in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup. I just don't see that happening, And so then you got to step in and say, okay, not going to happen. We're going to roll again.
That's one of the reasons, not specifically for the example that you just gave, that I don't really doll up my cards and dice stuff on the computer. I want that immersion. I don't need to see the logos of A, B, and C or the correct field for that. I want to see that immersion just in my head. And it could be the Rose Bowl or Schaefer Stadium or a random high school field and whatever. It's whatever it is that I feel like doing on that particular day. I don't want that experience to be diluted by a field, a court, a diamond, a logo. And I understand that a lot of people do, but that's why I really don't doll up the cards and dice stuff.
And I'm the opposite. I love my logos. I love my colors. Yeah. When I play Action PC hockey, I purposely flip all the colors so the home team is the white jersey and the away team is the dark jersey. When I play baseball, I go in with the digital diamond baseball. What I do is I put all the home teams in white and all the away teams either in their colors or if they had powder blue. I spend a lot of time. So Ron goes in kind of bare bones, and I'm the guy that spends hours and hours and hours setting it up.
There is no wrong answer.
Yep.
There absolutely is no wrong answer to
that. Bernie has a question here.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go to the question here for Bernie. Marco, are you more interested in the game mechanics or the results of the game, meaning like your favorite team winning?
Definitely the results. I think, I look at playing these games as if I'm in two ways, actually. So one, and I was going to piggyback off of what you guys were saying, so I could kind of loop it all in here. So when I play these games, I look at it like this, right? That whatever game I'm playing, let's say it's baseball. I'm the commissioner, I'm the GM, and I'm the manager of this league, this team, and this game, right? So I'm going to try and manage this game for whomever I'm playing for or against as if I'm trying to win. And if the results bear out that I win, awesome. And I'm going to be a fan and I'm going to root for it. But if not, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Like I was saying earlier when I was telling my Strat baseball story, my Chicago team did not even make the playoffs the first 2 years. And there are many done, maybe I rolled a 4 and that's not really a 4, that's a 5, and now it's a base hit and there's runners everywhere and whatever. But no, I try and keep faithful to what the real results would be in terms of I'm going to try and play this game probably 90% accurate. The other 10% I'm going to leave to what feels right, which is what you guys were just talking about. If we're playing at the hockey and this is the 4th penalty in a row, I think I'm going to re-roll the die. And it's not because I'm rooting for one team over another. It's just they're not going to get 4 power plays in the 3rd period down, 3 goals. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. But what's really cool about this though is that's how you get some really cool results. For example, the Fast Drive football right before the AFC NFC Championship games. If you go on my channel, you can watch that game. I did not expect the San Francisco 49ers, who were getting their asses kicked the whole game, hit a Hail Mary on the last dice throw of the game, and it was literally just me trying to wait, what do I do here? This seems right. Yeah, this feels right. Yeah, of course they're going to throw a Hail Mary. They're down 6. They have to. And it hit.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that really just that's like what brings the game.
Someone throwing a no-hitter when they're testing a camera.
Yeah. Yeah, how about that?
Come on!
There's a lot of people that are probably quite mad at me that haven't got a no-hitter yet, and there I am. Hey, check out my new camera and look at the view. And they see it focuses and it doesn't focus and it adds in light. And holy crap, it's the 9th inning. It's a no-hitter. And I get a double play to end the game. And And I luckily I played it correctly. Like it was APA, and it's APA Basic, and that's fairly easy. And people went back and watched every roll, and they confirmed that yes, it was indeed a no-hitter. And I was just like, oh.
So how does your back feel after 1,000 voodoo dolls with your image came out on it?
Yeah, I know. It's like here's this. It's kind of, I told my friend Ray, I says it's kind of like if you were on the golf course, like at a business thing. And you hit the shot and you say, yeah, you should really check out a new product. Meanwhile, the ball rolls in the hole for a hole in one.
Exactly.
And you're not even paying attention, because you're sitting there you're talking business, and they're just like, that's what it felt like.
Sorry, can I ask? So you rolled the no hitter, Dave. So Ron, was there any results? I mean, and you've got what did you say, 35, 40 years of playing games. Was there any game that sticks out in your head where you're like, I can't believe this just happened. I can't believe whatever it was, no-hitter, perfect game, walk-off, something.
I'm doing my 5th baseball replay on the channel this time around. And a couple years ago, I did 49. So there's 2 games in that replay that stick out. One was, I think Tommy Byrne walked 12 and 5 innings. And the Yankees didn't have anyone else to throw in there. And so I believe we had 5 errors, 25 men left on, an ungodly amount of unearned runs. Just one of those, you want to say every F-bomb on the planet because it's like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny at this point. What are you doing? You're cheating. I'm not cheating. It's a computer game. How the hell can you cheat? And the other one from that would turned out to be the World Series clincher. And the Yankees had a spot starter. I don't know why he got the computer to decide that he was going to get the start, but it's Fred Sanford. Now, you're not old enough for Sanford and Son, the TV show with Red Fox, and so I'm doing, I'm coming, Elizabeth, I'm coming.
This is the big one.
It's the big one. Well, what do you know? We get to the 9th inning, and Sanford's throwing a no-hitter and what's going to be a World Series clincher because the Yankees were up enough that Brooklyn wasn't going to – he didn't get it. I think he got 1 out in the 9th. But could you imagine a World Series clincher where, it would have been even more unlikely than what Don Larson did.
So do you take him out? Do you bring in the closer in the 9th, knowing that he's just been lucky through this whole thing? Or do you say, nope, this is his game? Because you bring in the closer, you probably lock it down and win the game.
Well, the Yankees had 5 chances to win the World Series. No, I believe he got the whole game. But, just one of those, talk about unlikeliest things because you look at, I forget who the ace was that particular year for the Yankees, but you're not thinking a no-hitter was someone that started 2 games all year. It's the Dallas Braden perfect game thing from a few years ago. What? In a World Series clincher. Here you go. No pressure whatsoever.
I had a game with the Spiders, the 1899 Spiders, and they were playing this team, and I don't know who they were playing. And so I was screwing around. It's the Spiders. I'm not taking it all seriously. And so it was a well-known pitcher on the mound, too, for 1890, and the name escapes me. But I was like, I'm going to take him out, and I'm going to put in somebody else here in the 8th inning, just for ha-has, right?
Is that Noodles Hahn or something like that?
Yeah, Noodles Hahn. Noodles Hahn was pitching for whatever team it was. And I said, no, something. Yeah, and they were crushing the Spiders. I got to bring in this other dude, right? So I brought in this dude. Don't know him. I don't know many people from 1899. And I put him on the mound, and he couldn't get an out. He walked. He got hit. And the Spiders got 3 runs, and the bases were loaded, and he couldn't get anybody out. And I'm like, what's going on here? I clicked on his card. He pitched in 1 game, and he gave up 8 runs in 2 innings in that 1 game. So he couldn't get anybody out. And that's the guy I put on the mound. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to get this guy out of here.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, I didn't know.
One of the things that on the computer, strat cards everything.
Yeah, but it was funny to see because I looked at his card. Like, yep, he played 1 game. I don't even think he made it out of that 1 inning. They carded him, and he gave up, I don't know, 8 runs or 10 runs in that 1 game in real life, and he was on the mound. It's like, yeah, that's like throwing the bat boy out there to pitch. It's like, okay, let's get him out of here. But I've done stuff like that. It's been kind of fun. Let me ask you this, Marco. Have you ever gotten mad? playing the game.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
Oh, yes, he says.
No, and I keep going back to the first couple seasons of my Strat baseball league when my, how many ninth inning blown saves and so I like to do complete like real players but fantasy teams. So I do like a full draft and everything. And our closer was 2016 Aroldis Chapman. Okay, so he's not going to blow a lot of saves. Well, I need to pull up my stats database because I think he blew 12 saves and I only played a 40-game season. So, and so there were a lot of times where I'm throwing the dice. I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Oh, look, a home run. Wonderful.
It makes you feel any better. I try to avoid the closer rule in Strat.
Really?
Yes.
What do you do instead?
I just go with their regular point of endurance. So if they're a one-inning pitcher, I just go through there. You can do that on the computer. That closer rule is optional.
So that was I came up with a homebrew, and I need to get Strat back on the table on the channel so I can explain it further. So basically, what I do, and I don't know if I saw this somewhere or I dreamt it. I don't know, but what I do is, so let's say a pitcher's endurance number is a 7, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna multiply that by 3. Okay. And what happens is every time he gives up a run or he walks someone, he loses a point.
Sounds
and
like
then every
Status Pro does that.
Okay, maybe So maybe that's where I got it from. And then every time he gets an out, he loses a point as well. So then finally, when he gets down to 0, I go with the dots. But then I go a step further, and if he dips into too far in the negative, so if he goes -1, -2, -3. Every dot now goes worse. So, like, a singles will now be doubles. Doubles will now be triples. Triples are now homers.
I like that.
Yes.
That's so in the PC version of Strat, which is what I play, you can shut off the pitch count. You just go by pure point of weakness. And so that's what I do for the closer, is just go with a pure point of weakness. So if he's rated a 1, then he obviously would get the 9th without any problem. It would be when you would go to use into the 10th. So instead of the closer rule, because that's the way I was brought up playing the game.
I find that I use a combination of like every baseball game I played for when I go to the bullpen. In fact, I think we did a show on that one time. We like when do we go to the pen? And I don't really have a set thing here. It's just
certain folks in Maine love that show, by the way.
Yeah, I just go with feel, because there's a couple of games that I played that did a really good job with fatigue. Like, you would roll, okay, here's where they can go without any issues, and then you start to roll after and figure out if they do or don't fatigue or whatever. Some it's a hard break, some it's not. Some, I just go feel, because, again, if you have an A pitcher on the mound and he's getting racked, realistically, you take him out, even though you're bringing in a reliever who's a B or a C or whatever ratings you use. So it's like, well, if I leave him in, I still have an A pitcher, but realistically, you wouldn't leave him in because they got to him. Yeah, so I try to go with that. Now, what's great when I play with Digital Diamond is they have a pitch count and a fatigue factor in the game. And that works really well. So I loosely go on that. If I see the guy approaching his high pitch count, or if he turns orange on the screen or yellow or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, I got to think about this. Then when he gets red, he's pretty exhausted. Now, some of the games I play, you just take the pitcher out. There's no fatigue, and some you do. I go by feel, and I really like that. And that way there, I feel like I'm in more control of the reality of it. If he gives up 6 runs in 3 innings, all right, you're on a real short leash unless you settle down real fast. You know what I mean? So I do that. Hey, Jim has a question here. One more question for us guys. Which year of APA golf would you recommend to purchase from a starting standpoint? Thanks for the show.
2000.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah, 2000. You get Prime Woods, Prime Mickelson, BJ Singh.
If they have an all-time greats, that's always a good way to go, because you get your Arnold Palmer and your Jack Nicklaus in their prime, and so you can play some of these guys here. So I usually start with all-time greats, and then 2000 is a good one to go to. Yeah, but keep in mind, Tiger's just going to dominate everything in 2000.
But the top 5 in the world, David Duval too, they are all so good that if Tiger falters at all, you're gonna, yeah. There was no flukes that year.
Yeah,
And that's what made Tiger's year really special. Was he wasn't just beating Dave and I. He was beating Phil Mickelson at 30 years old.
Now, Ron, let me ask you that question.
Okay.
Have you ever gotten mad playing?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah. I remember the worst one that you got one time. You were trying to play a soccer game, I think, and I think that was more of trying to figure the game out than it was the results.
A streaming Football Manager 20 whatever. Dear old Lorenzo bought it for me, and so I figured I owed him some streams. And I was so upset I dropped an F-bomb on a stream. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
I've thought it several times. Oh, yeah. No, there are... if I'm not awake, if I pull something out to play real early and I'm down 8-0 in the second inning, that game never happened. We will replay that game at a later date. And the fornicate that manure. It's too early for this crap. There, translate that to what you will. But no, it's the only time I've ever dropped an F-bomb on a stream. And it was just, if you've ever played that game, that is, it's great, but it's yeah.
Cleveland baseball fan says, my mad comes from my sarcasm. And he
Johnny
says,
Johnny Peralta, Brian, Travis Hafner. Yep.
Just ask people about me and Bob Stanley.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he loves Stanley. D. Scott Howard says he saw ID Jessa get upset one time. You know, I can say I've never saw him get upset one time.
Just once?
Just once.
Just once today?
Yeah, one time? All right, so everyone got the joke there. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that was a good one.
Good one.
And when you talk about the dice game that you were playing, or the quarter game, right? You were talking about that.
Yeah.
I did something similar when I was a kid. You remember these? You remember?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
And I'm showing a little plastic helmet with the Expos logo. I found an Expos one somewhere. Okay, maybe Yards or whatever.
You had a Sunday in that?
Yeah. So when we were kids, you'd flip the cup upside down, and they would squirt the ice cream in here. And this was, 70s, early 80s or whatever it was. And there was this one particular place that had all the cups, right? And you used to go there, and they fill them up. And I remember my grandparents going there, and they'd call us up and say, she's like, I'm trying to figure out what team I got. I'm trying not to turn it and spill my ice cream and look at the logo for you, So we ended up collecting all of them. There was one summer, probably 79 or 80, something like that, 81. And we did. We got them all. We got all the teams. And what we would do is we would take all the cups, and we'd take two teams and put them behind our back, shuffle them up, and one guy would say, this side, and that's the winner. And he moved on. And we take and we did that a couple times. The first time we ever did it, me and a friend did it, wouldn't you know it, just complete, pick that side, pick that. Red Sox won the World Series.
Yay!
Yeah, imagine that. We played it all the way through. Oh, good, the Red Sox. Yeah, we kept go. The Red Sox win again, and I don't know who they played, but it was down to the last couple teams, and that side, Red Sox. So yeah, that was kind of fun. But that's what we did. Yeah, these little things here. Yeah, and it was Al Red Sox fan Carvel might do these. I'm not sure, but it was a soft serve. And now there's that same place that we used to get these from. I don't know if they're still in business, but it's another place in town that did it for a year, and you could pick your cups. And back in the day, they just grabbed a random one, and you were just hoping that it wasn't one. I must have like 13 of the Cardinals. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, I need Astros, right?
Every one of them.
I need A's. I need this. But so when I went to probably about 8 or 10 years ago, I'm like, can I get that yellow one? That orange one. I'm like, yeah, do whatever you want. But back in the day, it was luck of the draw.
We did that with football helmets. With the Sundays. Remember,
really?
Played with was as a kid, yeah. Anyway, you showed earlier the Tampa Bay helmet, the little mini one that was you got out of the quarter machine or whatever. So I had a friend. You talk about picking the hands with to pick the winner. He had all the little mini football helmets, and so what he would do is he would smash them together, and whoever's face mask snapped off first watched the game.
Oh, jeepers, really?
So we would do mini seasons that way, just like what you described that way. And we mixed up the USFL teams with the NFL teams. I mean, it's amazing to be 13 years old, Vince McMahon. Wow.
Whoa.
How's retirement treating you, Vince?
I saw a funny, speaking of wrestling, there was a funny picture I saw on social media, and it was a picture of, who was the guy that just died? The crazy talk show host, Jerry Springer?
Oh, Jerry Springer.
Yeah, and it's a picture of him saying, the test results are in, and not everybody is your brother. And there's a picture of Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah. You're thinking,
hey, brother.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny. Little wrestling thing there. Yeah. All right. So, Marco, very interesting story here. We want to know, if you're listening to the show here, we want to know from you. Let me get my little banner up here so we can show what we're talking about here. Games that got you through tough times. And I think we've all had tough times. We've all relied on something. And for a lot of people, it's games. And we lean on these games. And even just in normal everyday life. I mean, there's sometimes I'm at the rink and I'm having a bad day or whatever it is. I'm tired. I'm just not into it. And I just look forward to just getting home and playing either a new game I got or a project I'm working on. Maybe I know I got Appa sitting here on the table, Appa Hockey or Hockey Bones or something like that. It's like ready to go when I come home, and I just want to come home and play that. It's like come home, take a shower, and just like give me an hour or so. I just want to enjoy this game, or I'll jump on. And I'll stream something and just kind of open up a chat room and just have some fun with it and throw a no-hitter by mistake, whatever it is,
Yeah.
But it's just games like this. They do get you through tough times. Whether it's a wicked tough time or it's just kind of like everyday bumps and bruises that you get. That we all get in everyday life, crappy days, something happens, car breaks down, whatever it is, something happens. But you get this, you look forward to that. Do you guys look forward to playing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, and I wanted to add, too, and we sort of touched on it earlier, but I think the biggest draw, at least for me, and I think everyone would agree with this, is it's the power of the imagination, right? You can create whatever world you want, and then you can go be in that world for those 2, 3, 4 hours or however many times. And I guess, like, for someone of my age, that's what actually pushed me away from video games. Because when video games, like, they're making the world for you.
Yes. Yeah.
We're here. No. Like, in my world, I can do whatever I want. The 8 teams can make the playoffs. 2 teams can make the playoffs. Nobody can get traded. In my world, there are no trades, or maybe there are, or whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
And it's just it is. There's nothing like it. It really is.
It is theater of the mind. It really is.
Yep.
And I used to listen to another thing that got me through. I went through a tough time at work. And I listened to a lot of old-time radio on the satellite radio, The Shadow and, the detective stories and the space stories. And it was all on the radio back in the day, but now there's a whole channel that plays this stuff.
It's all theater of the mind.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So, I mean, Sherlock Holmes and just there was horror stuff that they had, the Midnight Hour, whatever these shows were called. And I used to listen to a lot of them, too. And so you listen, and then you create in your mind what is going on. And that's kind of the same thing here, is that you're playing the game, and there's really no visuals. It's just, you're looking at dice and a pen and paper and a card, what I mean, with numbers on it. And that's, it's not MLB The Show, and it's not Madden, you know what I mean? It's in your head, and but it's much more... It's much more immersive when you
and we've done a show on how the heck does that translate into what you're to make these things work. I'm playing Knicks Pistons opening night 1989, and the bad boys are just there's no weak spots, and their defense is incredible.
Yeah,
it's okay, that's how
and how about some of the basketball I was playing? The Atlanta Hawks just have the Celtics number when I played. That was it 84, 85 I played?
No, 85, 86.
I forget. It's one of those seasons that the Celtics are just dominant. And I have it in Strat and regular season basketball, and there was another game I had. And no matter what I do, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Celtics. It's the one team that the Celtics can't beat. They just can't beat. Replay basketball I was playing. And I'm playing. I haven't played that in a long time now, but I was playing the whole Celtics season, and they were cruising. They were like 18-0, and then they hit the Hawks and they lost. And it's just like, and no matter what game, so that's the running joke is the Celtics when I play the Celtics, they cannot beat the Atlanta Hawks. It's just something about that in any game I play for that season. It's just kind of funny how that happens, you know.
Yeah, and Ron brought up earlier, and again, that's the wonder of these games. Ron brought up earlier the 2000s golf set. Guys, in both APA Golf and History Maker Golf, as God is my witness, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but Tiger Woods has never won a tournament. And I played a lot of tournaments and a lot of rounds.
Wow.
So it's the dice gods may not like him on my table. I don't know what it is, but you never know what you're going to get.
I could never get Jack Nicklaus to play well if I play him.
Yeah.
And that should be so easy. You know, he can have a good round, but he can never actually, it gets rather frustrating because you're mishandling Jack Nicklaus. I expect Barbara to knock on my door and say, give me that card. It's virtual. Just give it to me. You're never playing that again.
Yeah, you do. Mr. Rothman says he's been having a prostate cancer battle for 13 years, and he mostly plays quick play medium games, and that has helped him tremendously. Yes, any game you play can help you tremendously. But he would love to play some longer play games when his brain fog clears. It is great therapy. And yes, it is. And the great thing about it, is there's quick play games, medium play games, and long play games. And you can play anyone you want. And there's sometimes I come home and I'm in the mood just for a quick game. I really am. And I just pull something out and I bang out a series or something like that, and it's great. And other times I want the long slug. I have so many full seasons that I've started in different things, and I get so far. But then I want to play something else. I don't want to dedicate the next 3 months to playing this game just to finish the season. So I'm going to put this away and go to something else. And then, I like to bang out like a quick playoff series or something like that. I'll play Stanley Cup Finals or something like that, and or a World Series and play that out. Depending on the game, what game was it? Was it Pocket Pennant Run? I think it was Pocket Pennant Run. I played like the championship series, and I think I got different teams that went to the World Series and played that out. But that was just fun.
You did 80. Played that for 90.
Yeah, I think I had the Astros and the. Was it Yankees that won? I think
it would have been the Astros and Yankees in the World Series.
Yeah, and I think they got to the World. It was something like that. But yeah, I've played and had some different things happen, and it's been kind of fun, But that was a quicker play game. Pocket Pennant's you still play every batter, but it's a lot easier to play than some of the other ones. Like flipping through charts and looking at ratings. It's all right there. Have you played Pocket Pennant Run yet, Marco?
I haven't, and I quite literally just wrote it down. So the games list is growing every day.
Yeah, I think it's a $20 game.
That's a cheap one.
Yeah, and it comes with software. Okay, if you get the PDF version, it comes with software. They have
even if you get the hard version, you get a link to the software.
Yeah, I think
cool.
When you get you don't buy seasons though. Okay, so when you get the print version, you get a handful of teams, and you get the software. So I suggest that people get the PDF, okay, and then you get the software, and with the software, you get every season. With the software, and you can go in and
all of Major League Baseball. It's 55 years of the Japanese League. It's a number of years of Korean League. It's the Negro Leagues, and I believe start a couple of years of NCAA.
Yeah, there's a lot of seasons, and you can go back in. I forget how far back it goes, but you can go back into the schedule and click on any game, and like print out that score sheet, and it prints out like the batting orders for that day. And it's got all the players with all their ratings for Pocket Pennant Run ready to go. So their score sheets are phenomenal as far as, it's all set up to play that game. So
you wouldn't be able to do any draft league stuff with it, but if you're, but for a stock, absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to play a couple of teams, yeah. And I think it comes with, I think you can go into a season and export the teams into an Excel file. You can do two things. You can do export the PDF, which gives you most of the players on a card, so you can print out and have a card, or you can print out as an Excel sheet, and it gives you everybody that played. So you can do an as played with that, yeah. So and it's a very simple game to play. There's one chart, and you roll 3 dice and you follow along until you get a result, and it's super fun. It's inexpensive. The software is great. We've had the guys on our show that did it, and they're great guys, and they're very responsive. And it's the best deal in baseball. It really is.
And they're younger too.
Yeah, yep, they are.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I will definitely have to check them out. I'd like to learn a little bit more about some of the more quick play games. Like I was just thinking, Dice United was another one that I played for a little while. That's a good quick play soccer game too. So
you'll like Dice United too, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm also excited. I think they're reissuing Legends of Boxing, so I'm excited to see what they come up with.
20th anniversary set for that. We've had Gary on, and we worked on Stone Cold Hockey with him. I mean, that was
cool.
Quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah, Doug echoes that, Marco. You got to try Pocket Pen and Run. Real fun game. So
definitely.
Have you played Stone Cold Hockey?
I have not.
Ooh.
I have not. The only hockey game I played is Appa Hockey. I was looking at Hockey Blast, and I saw you play Hockey Bones at some point, but not Stone Cold Hockey.
If you like Fast Drive Football, you will love Stone Cold Hockey.
Yes. It's a quick play game. You roll the dice. You see who controls the puck, and then you roll to see. Like I said, I think it's like if you roll to get a number, and then it's like if the team is, 8 offense, you get a shot from the slot. If there's 6 offense, you get a shot from the point, and it's just like a play game. And then the last one is shot blocked, nothing happens. So it all depends on the ratings of the team. But you can play a game in 10 or 15 minutes. They have a computer version too.
Perfect.
They have a computer version, but they have a cards and dice version. Ron and I helped with the computer version. I still like the card and dice version of that. Not that the computer version is bad, but it's just I just love all the rolling in that game.
I just think that it just builds the suspense and the immersion.
I remember Ron and I tested it. I think was the game out, the card and dice game out at the time?
No, we got a beta version of the card and dice game.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
and that's how we got that's what they told us. Oh yeah, we're working on a computer version. That's how we got into that.
Yeah, but the card and dice game was pretty much done at the time,
Yes.
I think. Not released, but pretty much done. And Ron and I got a hold of it, and we played a period, and nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. It was just like
it was just dice rolling. It didn't feel like hockey. It didn't feel like anything.
So we get done the first period, and well, how do we tell this guy his game is just not fun? Seriously, it was like, how do we tell him that? So we played a little bit more. Second period, we played the third period. By the end of the third period, we were like, holy cow!
Yeah.
Good thing we didn't stop after the first period, because we continued on, and by the end of that game, it felt like a hockey game. And then every game after that and when you play the 70s, it's rough and tumble. A team's endurance goes down to 0, and now they just can't win any of the battles because they got beat up by the other team. What was the game we played? Was it Flyers and somebody else, and the Flyers beat them down and still lost 1-0?
Still lost, yeah.
It was just, but it's like the Flyers just beat the crap out of this team.
It felt like a Flyer game. That's the thing, especially because, again, it's not a series by series or play by play. It's a highlight game. But yeah, the Flyers just did what they did.
It feels like a hockey game.
My teeth hurt after that game.
Yeah. Wow. So I would suggest the Stone Cold Hockey and Shootout Hockey is another one that I've been playing a long time.
Okay. That's a lot of seasons for that too.
They're like 1 and 1A. Shootout Hockey and Stone Cold, they're different, but they play about 15-20 minutes. Not difficult to play. Very inexpensive as well. I think the Shootout Hockey is like $10 or $12 for the game, and the seasons are $7 or $8 or something.
$7 to $10, right?
All PDF for Shootout.
And you don't really need to know anything about hockey strategy to enjoy those games. It's a very good intro game.
Yep, they're very fun.
I think that's a big thing that prevents me, and I'm sure a lot of other gamers too, from doing season replays, is when you pull out like an APA or a Strat or something like that. And Play does a good job of this with the quick roll results, but I would love to do like a 2013 Blackhawks replay, right? But I'm not going to sit there and play 200 hockey games.
Yeah,
it's going to take me 10 years at the rate I play, So I'm definitely interested in finding more of those quick play style games to just plow through seasons and see if, like you said, can a team win a cup again, or is someone else going to win it, or what have you?
I one time played. Are you familiar with the Downey games?
No, I don't think so. Maybe if you, I might be familiar with a couple titles, but no, I don't think
the Downey
so.
games, boy, that's another rabbit hole. I have a lot of their football games. And I really like their football games. They have a great baseball game called Back to Basics Baseball. Okay, and I bought that during. I think I bought it on the Easter sale.
Yeah, this year you got it.
No,
right?
yeah, that one there I bought the printed version because it comes with a fast action deck. Anything with a fast action deck, I tend to buy the print version because I really don't want to print out front and back 100 cards because I'll never get in the lineup. So I bought the the print version of that. Back to Basics Baseball comes with every season up through 2014, and you go to the website and just download the zip file, and you can literally print out. I think it's in a PDF. Every team, and it's all players that play.
Awesome.
You can do an as played, and you just flip the cards. So Downey games have some great games. That's a great baseball game. They have a lot of final score hockey games where you take two teams, Bruins, Canadians, and it's like, okay, Boston's a M and Montreal's an O, and their defense is this, so subtract that. Montreal's at home, they get a bonus. So the final ratings are Montreal T and Boston R. You roll the dice on a T. That's 3 goals. You roll the dice on an R. That's 1 goal. Montreal wins 3-1. You can literally play a game in a minute. And I did the entire 1970-71 hockey season, including playoffs, every game, and I did that in less than a week.
Wow.
And we went through the standings, and some of the teams' records were spot on.
Spot on. Point totals were exact.
And some of the goals against and goals for, I hit exact, too. That's how crazy some of these final score games can be as far as accuracy goes. I think I had a couple of teams, one team that finished third, finished fourth, and a team that finished fourth, finished fifth. But for the most part...
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
Remarkably close, yeah. It really was. So some of the games from the Downey games, I think it's DOWNEY games.com. And they have a ton of games over there, football, baseball. I think they have one basketball game. I don't think it's that good, though.
Mrs. Marco's about to pull his Wi-Fi, I think, if we keep this.
Yeah. They do have
she's out of town, so.
Oh, okay.
They do have an interesting. They got
We're
a fun golf game, though. Player of the game golf is kind of fun there. It's a round by round game, so you just kind of figure what the score for the round is, but that's still kind of fun. But the Downey games, for the most part, they're quicker play games, some final score games like that. But they do have some full play football games that are kind of fun. So Downey games are another fun thing to look into. I see Bernie says, I'm new to playing hockey games, and Shootout is his favorite. So, yeah, Shootout and Stone Cold Hockey 101A. They really are. Glenn says, Stone Cold Hockey is really fun. I wish I had more visuals, though. He needs to see the player photos. Maybe that will come. So I think he's playing the PC game.
Yeah.
Frank says, I love Replay Baseball, Cards and Dice, and PC. I like the Replay PC. I don't have the Cards and Dice version yet.
Yes,
no, yeah. Ron got me the PDF version. Right?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. I did play that. But the thing was, I got confused with that because I tried to play it with the PC game to see if I could roll the dice, look at the chart, and get it right. And I was getting weird results on the PC. And it was really frustrating because it's like, okay, why is this a single and not a double? I'm showing double all day long. Well, I guess there's a setting in the PC game that you can set it to play exactly Cards and Dice, and I didn't have it checked. So the Replay Baseball somehow does it a little different on the PC version, something like that.
You can be a little more precise on a computer than you can on a tabletop.
Yeah.
And so you can just, in that, you can just shut it off. So if you want the true experience.
Glenn says Replay Baseball PC game is the only baseball game he plays right now, and all his replay history is with that game. And I know Pesky Pole loves that Replay Baseball too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he plays that a lot too. So, all right, well, we'll wrap it up here. Any more questions for Marco? Please get them in quickly here in the chat room so we can wrap this up. But again, we want to thank you for coming on the show, and definitely check out his channel, folks. Marco Scola. Scola is his last name. Go over, check out his channel. He's doing some good streaming over there. Younger guy trying to get some younger people into the hobby. And I know that I had a friend of mine who was laid up with a broken leg, probably about your age, and I stopped over his house one day with Shootout Hockey. And I brought his favorite season, which is 94, was the Rangers won the Cup, and I showed him how to play because he was laid up. He couldn't do anything. And he had a blast. He had a blast playing. Now, he didn't, when he healed up, he stopped playing it. But, I mean, he's like, holy cow. He texted me. He goes, I've been playing this all night. That's how fun this game is. So, if you can get it into the hands of the younger people, when you just describe it, it doesn't do it any justice. But if you can show them and play it with them, and they're like, holy cow, this is fun. I'm rolling dice. I'm recording the results. I'm maybe making some decisions. It's not like, I'm playing hockey on the table. Yeah, oh, yeah, great. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a try, And D. Scott's Howard just subbed in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mo says...
Yeah, no, my 16-year-old, I think I told the story earlier, my 16-year-old cousin came over to watch NFL Sunday, and the games had kind of gotten a little boring. There was a little lull, when the 3 o'clock games or 4 o'clock games for you guys come on. And I said, you love baseball. Why don't you try Strat? Try what?
Yeah.
Try what? And you pull out the game, and again, as God is my witness, by the 5th, 6th inning, I'm watching his gears turn, and he's, all right, do I bring in a pitcher here? Do I pinch hit? What do I do? And he's thinking like a manager. And I think he's close to buying the game, so we'll see. I'm trying to push him right over the edge, so I'm probably a bad influence.
But it's so different than if he was sitting there with a controller playing MLB The Show. You know what I mean? Because now you're like, okay, what do I want to get? I want to roll a 6-4, and you roll the dice to see what you get, And that's where the fun with that comes in. Is and you have to figure out what happens on the play, too, so there's some thinking involved. You're not just mindlessly sitting there with Doritos, So, Frank asks, are you a wrestling fan? Have you tried the Filsinger games?
I haven't. I'll have to look that up.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
Dave, check out Dave Little's channel. He's done hundreds of videos on Filsinger. That's his wrestling thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've only played... can you check out Fast Track? I have. I've done the Commissioner expansion. Mr. McMahon. Sorry, Mr. Boss. I've done. I've actually created a league. Al Wilson put up a really cool like how to do it, and I created a whole league and did the expansion and everything. If you want a video on it, I can do it. So it's a lot of fun. It's a little. I don't want to call it tedious, but it's a little bit of work, but it's fun. It's really cool.
And Bernie says, really enjoying the Marco YouTube videos. Keep up the good work. Same from Doug. Looking forward to more videos from Marco. Ben says, thank you for sharing everything. Looking forward to watching some videos. Yeah, so hopefully you'll have some new people watching your channel over there. And he does some good stuff over there, folks. He really does. And so everyone kind of chiming in here at the end.
Thank you.
And Mr. McMahon would like a video on us, so now you have an assignment.
You got it.
There you go, sir.
Got homework. You got it. My what did I call it? FFL, I think I called it. We're finishing up our second Fast Drive football season, so we'll the Michigan. What did I call them? The Michigan. I think I call them the Wolverines, even though they're not the university, but they won the
excellent.
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah, they beat the Seattle Surge to win the first ever FFL title. And now we're in season 2, and I think both of those teams are still juggernauts. But so, yeah, you're giving me an idea. See, and this is cards and dice games. It never ends. You've always got the next idea right around the corner.
Do you like playing fictional? Do you like playing fictional?
I do, and I do, but I don't. Like, I like the blending, right, where you have real players but fictional teams. I love doing that. But to me, that's sort of like the uncharted frontier for me. Like, I haven't really dived too much into the fictional quite yet. And I'm not really much of a replayer either. It's more of like...
There's a sweet spot, though, with the draft league, so it's which is what you're talking about here.
Exactly. Yes, and that's the freedom of that is what I really enjoyed most of what I think really was the nitro, if you will, that fueled my board game love is I could take these real players with real backstories and real backgrounds and real stats, and they perform like their real selves, and put Aaron Judge on the Cubs and see what happens, you know, and you never know. And like I said, sometimes you get those really stacked teams that actually suck, and it surprises you, or vice versa, I remember when I like my second or third year of that league, a team that won like 8. I mean, they were like 8-32, and they were. It was the Washington team, and they had like a bunch of nobodies, and I guess maybe it was just a good carded year or something. But they broke my single season wins record the following year. I'm like, how did that happen? Bunch of lucky rolls? I don't know. But that's the beauty of our hobbies. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Have you played fictional players?
I have not, actually. I have not. I've seen, and I've shouted them out like 4 times, but they're my favorite game company is Play. And again, that's like asking what my favorite ice cream is. All of it. But Play,
Yes.
Play does, yes, exactly. Play just did their Baseball America, and I think I'm going to take the leap, and I'm going to do it because it's a fully fictional league with a fully fictional backstory, and I love that idea, that creativity is so different.
Watch some of his videos.
Yes, Steve's fantastic.
Yes, he is.
And I think Steve popped in, and Steve's awesome. I love Steve's stuff.
The Stone Cold Hockey that we're talking about has fictional teams as well. And,
cool.
and I think they're on the computer too, Ron, right? Or are they just PDF?
It's the demo. No, so
but when you get the game from them, there's a little intro book to the league, and it talks about the different teams. And there's a couple of teams that are having issues and might not be around for long, and those are the teams that finish at the bottom of the standings, you know. But they're all fake teams with a little story and it's just kind of, so if you really like fictional stuff, you do have to buy into that world.
Yes.
Because it's, I play these games to play Bobby Orr. Let's just call it what it is. But from time to time, it is fun to go off and just be like, I'm going to play a whole bunch of guys. I have no idea who these guys are, and it's fun watching, Joe Smithers, lead the team in something or other. And then this guy here is, terrible. And so, but you have to buy in, because it's fictional, it's fake, it's nobody so I mean, you don't know any of these guys from Adam, so to speak,
But you also heard me say that once the rubber bands come off, it's all fictional.
That's true.
It's real players and it's real stats, but it's
not going to be the same. Yep. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up here. Marco, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you guys. This was a really cool opportunity, and I've been watching you guys for quite a while. So thanks for having me on. Love to do it again sometimes. And thanks to everyone for chiming in and hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun. So thanks again, guys. This was awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Let me wrap things up here. Marco, don't go away. We have some parting gifts for you. We don't, but I like to say that, so you'll hang on after we sign off. But again, this has been the Digital to Dice podcast. This has been episode 184 as we chatted with Marco Scola. Yeah, as we approach coming up on. Oh, I had a little ticker here. I meant to play and I didn't. So it's thank you all for 4 great years. Looking forward to year 5. I had to update that. That originally said, thanks for 2 great years, looking forward to year 3. But now it's a couple years later since I've updated that ticker. So as we approach the end of year 4 this summer, it's coming up quickly. Ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the dice line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the way you can email us. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digital2dice. So once again, Marco, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome.
And Ron, thank you again.
As always.
And we'll talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.